Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Kyle. It's the Angry Geek here. Um, yeah, it's the most guerrilla kind of recording podcasting I've ever done. But I guess now's a better time to talk about it than anything, and I've already done this, so I don't even know why I had to come back on here. But the internet wrestling community, or I'm sorry, the internet wrestling community specifically, a bunch of assholes. So, trending today was Mr. JD from New York. I don't even know why I'm calling him Mr. He's more of a prick. JD from New York made some pretty offensive remarks. Whether it was old or not is not the issue here. The issue is you made the comments to begin with, and you're sponsoring to thousands of people and expect for no backlash to occur? Like, that's not how it works. The world doesn't go, yeah, he told a girl she works as well as she lays in bed. Not at all. Like her performance is bad. That's so stupid, that's sexist, and it's horrible. So that's a tough one. It's a tough one to fathom, especially from a podcaster who gets paid to do nothing but be a-hole. So, it's a little disheartening, to say the least. Considering there's a lot of impressionable wrestling fans out there, and I do know this is old. 2 years old. But he's been doing this for years. It is nothing new. But his actions and his words are ridiculous. Now, Joe Cronin made a whole new video where he was calling Braun Strowman a pedo for working with Nicholas, even though that was a birthday gift and it's a family friend. Talking about Sonya Deville, saying stuff about Alexa Bliss as well. So, no one's right in this matter, but nobody in the IWC is right. They should not be doing or saying anything of what they're saying. It's a rough one. When it comes to the time frame that this information is released, that wrestler, I forget her name, I think it's Hama Kimura from Japan, from Stardom, had died of suicide at the age of 22. So, I mean, it's not the best timing, considering that Twitter is on a witch hunt for bullies right now. And JD from New York is literally in the scope of WWE. Joe Cronin's probably not falling too far behind. And I do not blame WWE for that. Because in this current generation, based off of, the significance of the coronavirus or COVID-19 response that they're doing and trying to put out a decent product, having people like this who are not just reviewing the product, but they are making offensive remarks about the performers when it's not even necessary is ridiculous. So, having to hear, like for instance, Joe Cronin calling Braun Strowman a pedophile, that's really, we've gone this far. Joe Cronin's not even funny. He's not even a good reviewer. Neither is JD from New York. They're literally famous for being offensive. They act probably about as politically correct as Louis C.K. How he finds everything funny. And he's not. It's a shame. It's a shame that the wrestling community, especially the reviewing community and podcasters, and it's not the majority of them, it is a handful, but it bears the question, why does the comments that they are doing or saying have to be prevalent? There should be no reason. You know what I mean? So, it really shouldn't be. So, yeah. So, pretty much, when it came to the podcasters and the comments that they do, the comments that they make should not reflect negatively on the performers. If you are a podcaster and a reviewer for a wrestling company or a wrestling program or anything, if you review music and movies or whatnot, critique the product. Do not critique personal people and say, like for instance with the Alexa Bliss comment saying her performance in the ring is as good as her performance in bed. She probably lays down. That is absolutely disgusting. And this is coming from a guy, we're all men, we all make, we all think in that way. But I would never go up to a girl on a live stream, no less, to hundreds of thousands of people and call her or say anything about a girl like JD from New York did. And now JD from New York is on Twitter and he's doing damage control. Which, cool, you're doing damage control, but you know what, that's not gonna help. You can make all the damage control you want. At the end of the day, no one's going to look at you the same way, because WWE, AEW, all them people are all friends. At the end of the day, he made enemies with the entire industry, not just himself. Now, ways to stop people like JD from New York from continuing. Now, my brother said it was a bad idea, what I recommended, and I'm going through with it regardless, because I think it's a little preposterous for a guy like him to continue to do this, because I don't care if he goes, well, that's comments I made 2 years ago. You make comments like that now. He's a creepy guy who makes sexist remarks all the time. This is not a one-off. So, what you should do is report him to his sponsor. So, for instance, he's sponsored by Ridge Wallet. If you feel offended, report him or complain to Ridge Wallet. Well, maybe. It depends. But yes. So, moral of the story is it's not right what they're doing. Should you report him or complain? You can. Why? I most likely won't, because I said what I said on Twitter and I left it at that. Did I keep a copy of the video of what he said? Oh yeah, certainly. Did I share the video of what Joe Cronin said? Oh yeah. No, because Joe Cronin is about just as bad as JD, and I wish I didn't say that. I wish it was just one non-condescending, narcissistic, sexist pig, but it's more than that, And these are the people that get wrestling fans or overall internet fans bad clout, when it comes to things like that 22-year-old wrestler who was basically bullied to suicide on the weekend. I believe it was Friday or Saturday. I really don't remember, unfortunately. I do not have that information in front of me to reference. But something has to give. Something does. And Twitter is not taking the initiative to stop bullying on social media. Now, I do get it. Can you put on some magic filter and it filters that stuff out? Yeah, you could. But if that decides to, if you decide to rely on a filter when you shouldn't need it, then there's a problem. Because if I had to put on a filter to not see super offensive things, there's something wrong with your platform. Because I shouldn't have to. So let's take a note here. In conclusion, the IWC, or the Internet Wrestling Community, or the Twitter Wrestling Community, for that matter, as well, because this individual is also on there, they need to honestly tone down their content a lot. Obviously, they are the equivalency of trash bag wrestlers who never made it. And honestly, this is not meant to be bullying. This comment right now is going to be meant to be criticism. They're assholes. Because win, lose, or draw, if not enough people complain, they're still going to get sponsored to make comments like this. I think it's ridiculous. It's horrifying. And it's impressionable. Now, am I telling them to completely silence their opinion? No. Just limit or remove completely the offensive comments that aren't necessary in a video like that. Because the video clip that it's from is from his podcast about wrestling. So, when you're talking about wrestling, he mostly reviews pay-per-views or TV shows, or goes over the news. So what does the comments he made in the video have to do with Alexa Bliss's personal life? So, unless it was a video about an autobiography or an unauthorized autobiography, or if there was a post or a video about somebody who made information public about, her intimate life, and he was quoting information from that, then in theory, that is, I guess, in a way, free reign to reference. But nothing like that's ever come up. So what JD basically did is he reported false information, I guess, and he got called out for it, and he didn't appreciate it. Which, good for you. You don't like someone's opinion. We don't like yours either. It's uncalled for, it's unprofessional, and it's distasteful. And no wonder none of the wrestling podcast channels, like Wrestle Talk, or places like What Culture or anything like that, they're probably not going to have you back. You are probably never going to be a part of Internet Darlings because the comments that you pulled are going to reflect negative. And Joe Cronin's not even anywhere close to ever being on there because he's just as bad as JD from New York. Now, I know I'm skewing off into the same kind of stuff that they're saying. But it bears the question, when's the cycle gonna stop? I get it. I'm saying negative stuff too. But I'm saying all this stuff in defense of the people that they're talking about. It's more defense than it is quote-unquote bullying. Because what they said isn't true. But what you're talking about, for instance, their comments online, is documented. It's fact. There's no bullying there if you have documentation that says, this guy said this, he acts like this, he talks like this, he's an asshole. So it is fact with a slight opinion over top. I rest my case. You do not need to be offensive to get quality out. Look at people like OSW, which, yes, they admit in their podcast that they say stuff that's offensive, but they're funny offensive. And certain people may not get the humor, even if they know it's offensive, but they don't get it anyway. Their offensive is under the cuff radar kind of offensive. Jokes that us regular Americans or regular people wouldn't get, only a small few. Brian Zane of Wrestling with Regret. He's not offensive. Well, I mean, he has his jokes, but they're nowhere near this level. You know what I mean? Like, he is the epitome of a good wrestling podcaster. There's tons of them out there. Queen of the Ring. There's Adam Blampied, Adam Pacitti, Ross on Wrestling from Cultaholic guys, Wrestle Talk, all of them. You know, I do not mind them. And people do not mind them. Because they're not making offensive, sexist, inappropriate comments. Because there's one thing that those people have that JD and Joe Cronin have very little of. Dignity. So, I'm saying, JD, Joe, if these guys ever listen to this, I'm not hating on you. You just need to tone it down, man. Because that stuff's going to get you flagged. So, anyway, Kyle the Angry Geek. Talk to you later.